Some radio stations say they play everything that rocks.
I'm going to go ahead and write you a prescription for 2 testicles, and you feel free to get this filled out whenever you want.
We play everything that really rocks. Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic.
Master, dinner is served. Igor, it's not that I don't appreciate the effort, but you know I prefer my meals uncooked. And how many times have I told you about using garlic? Yes, Master. Forgive me, Master. Please. Bite into Paradelphia. Thursday nights at 8, only on Toxic Radio. Paradelphia. Because what if it's all true?
While you're rocking with us at Toxic Radio, don't forget to check us out on social media.
I want details, and I want them right now.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Now you're talking, brother.
Chat with us, keep up on news. Just don't make it weird. Don't be a stalker. Don't be that guy.
You just want to suck the joy out of everything.
Toxic Radio. Get infected.
Hungry for Hope Nation, this is your host, Donnie Hart, and I am joined by my co-host,
Big Time Tim Gorgeous.
We have an awesome guest today, friend of Tim's from back in his boxing days. We're going to be joined by John, the IceMan Scully. Tim, tell us about John and get him on here.
Oh, man, there's so much to tell about. So much to tell about John. John was a former amateur standout. He was a world title contender in the light heavyweight division. Sparred with Roy Jones, James Toney. He does all kinds of crazy, great stuff in the boxing community, from his amateur reunions to his raising money for retired fighters that can't really afford to, what they need help. So he's there to help them by, auctioning off memorabilia, raising money, doing great work for the boxing community and the fighters that are in need. And I'm pretty sure I seen him post the other day. He's still working on that book that he started since I knew him when we did a boxing podcast before podcasts were cool. But John, is he here? There he is. Sure. My man. What's going on, Iceman?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Really good. Really good. I'm at a Red Sox game.
Oh, you at the Red Sox game and you're coming on for us?
Yeah. I'm in a skybox. Oh, it's, like a employee skybox. My friend hooked it up, and yeah, we're here, free food, and it's unbelievable. So, yeah, but I've got time for the guys, for sure.
Hey, man, we appreciate you taking time out. Tim speaks highly of you, man. Pleasure to finally talk to you, man. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. I appreciate it.
So, John, I seen you post the other day. It looks like you wrote another chapter for the book. Are we finally going to get those Iceman diaries soon?
Man, I'll tell you, it's funny. When I started it years ago, I thought I would be done in 6 months. And I used to hear about people taking 10, 15 years to write a book, and I thought that was so crazy, but I understand it. Like, I want to do it right, and, now I have Wi-Fi problems, and, but I'm definitely going to get it done. But I've been doing a lot of things, and I've procrastinated, and, so it's really slowed me up, but I'm definitely going to, I would like to say I'll be done this year. I mean, that's my plan, but we'll see.
So, I mean, you've basically done a what's what in the boxing industry with the boxing community, from amateur standout, world title contender, sparring partner for some all-time greats, trainer, put together a lot of different things. Kind of fill us in what you're doing right now with boxing.
My big thing now, I've been. I tell you what's funny. I'm at the point in my career where I'm getting invited to boxing dinners, and I'm as a guest, and I'm one of the guys that's getting invited to boxing events and golf outings and things like that. So I guess I'm heading towards old timer status. But I've been doing some good stuff, and I raise money, kind of on my own. It's not like an official capacity, but I raised money for Gerald McClellan, Wilfred Benitez, Pritchard Colon, and a few other guys. And that's kind of like my big thing. I've been kind of aligning myself with Ring 10 in New York. They've been, their mission is the same as mine. And also my big thing is I train amateurs, and I work with Artur Beterbiev when he fights. I go to training camp with him. And probably the thing people know me for quite a bit, I think, is the amateur boxing reunions that I do. I've done them in New York City. I've done them in Las Vegas. I've done them in Los Angeles, and both casinos in Connecticut, where I have just anyone who fought amateur. It could be a local amateur with 2 fights, all the way up to Roy Jones, guys I've had at my events.
Yeah, I've seen you posting pictures with some big names. It was funny. I was talking to Donnie about this the other night. The first night me and Donnie hung out, like we knew of each other, but we hung out was when I had to meet up with you at the Top Rank fights to drop off payment for one of those Michael Nunn autograph cards.
Right. Yeah. I remember.
So that's kind of how the whole Hungry for Hope thing started. With your guy was fighting on the main event.
Right. Which fight was that? Where was that? What was that? Was that Beterbiev?
Yeah, Beterbiev in Philadelphia against, I forget who it was.
Gavadzik.
Yeah.
Gavadzik.
Yeah.
Yeah, unification fight. Yeah, for sure.
What do you think about Canelo saying he wants to fight your guy next?
Man, I mean, I give him credit, and I don't underestimate him at all. I mean, Arthur's is a beast, but I was just talking on Facebook quite a bit today how Canelo is an improving fighter. He's very smart. He's underrated in a lot of areas, and he's a threat. I don't care about the weight; he's a threat. Ultimately, I would assume Arthur would be too big and too strong. I mean, Arthur fought amateur at heavyweight. He was a 201 pounder. He's a big man, and it's a lot different than fighting Kovalev and guys like that. Arthur's more of a machine, I would say, than Kovalev was at that point.
Nice. And then let's get back to where we were at when we were discussing you raising money for certain fighters. How did you get into that? Like, how did that become a thing for you?
To be honest, it just kind of happened by accident where I heard about Benitez being in a little bit of trouble. I didn't realize how bad off he really was, but I heard he needed some help. And I had something. I had a signed glove or something I had. And I said, man, I could probably get some money for this, and, I'll help out a little bit. So it was so easy. Like, I sold it quickly, got some nice money, and I mailed it. And, they were very appreciative. And then what happened was at one point a few years ago, I was in Puerto Rico, and Wilfred and I have a mutual friend, and he brought me to meet Wilfred at his house. And I saw how what dire straits he's in, like how much the family has to sacrifice to take care of him. And the same thing with Gerald McClellan. And so I said, man, I had to sell some more stuff. And, I started reaching, whenever I saw guys like Roy Jones, Lamont Brewster, whoever I ran into, even guys I didn't know, I would say, hey, could you sign this glove, sign this paper, sign whatever. And I started auctioning them off. And at one point, I had a belt signed by a bunch of guys, and, I'm thinking $300 I'm going to get for it. And, man, somebody paid me $1,900 for the belt. So I at that time, it was just Wilfred and Gerald. So I split the money in half, and I sent half to Gerald and half to Wilfred. And, so I would do it anyway, but seeing them in person really shined a light on how much in need they really, really are.
So there is a lot of people in the boxing community that help out, donate memorabilia. I think the last auction I seen you doing was an autographed glove from one of the fighters you used to train, Bad Chad Dawson, when he went up against Bernard Hopkins, who at that time was my favorite fighter. And I remember you just willed Chad Dawson back into that fight. I was happy for you, but it broke my heart for Bernard.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. Well, I'll tell you a funny thing. I remember you told me that, and people, like, right after the fight were like, yeah, that was really great what you did, and Jim Lampley was talking about it, and Larry Merchant and Manny Stewart. So, and believe it or not, I've never seen it. I've never watched the tape. I just never got around to it. It's been 9 years. I've never seen it. But one day I really need to watch it because I'd be curious to see how it unfolded as opposed to how I remember it. But I do remember it, I think, very well. It was a big moment for me and for Chad. But for me as a trainer, it was a big moment. And after that fight, he came to our gym and we did a thing where, he signed some gloves. And a friend of mine actually had the two gloves that Chad signed that day. And he gave them to me. He gave them back to me a few weeks ago, and I was able to auction them off online.
Oh, nice. Now, so when you come across these fighters in need, do you did some of them reach out to you like, hey, can you help me? Can you raise money for me? Or is it just, you happen to come across Wilfred Benitez or Pritchard Colon, who we all remember as an up-and-coming prospect.
Right. Well, Wilfred and Gerald, I reached out to them because, I obviously knew who they were. Their situations were very prevalent in the boxing world. People knew. With Pritchard, he trained at the gym I was at in Florida for the fight that he got hurt. I didn't meet him, but I knew I used to spar with a good friend of his. So I reached out to his mother through a mutual friend, and that's how I got connected with him. And then there's another fighter I help, who I don't name, but I help Milton Luban with Icons of Boxing. He told me about his situation, so I reached out to that fighter myself and have been helping him. So I've had a few guys reach out to me, and I've helped. Including one guy just like a week ago, I helped him out. And the other thing I do when it's something big and urgent, I refer them to Matt Farrago with Ring 10 in New York, who is unbelievable. They do. I don't know if you're familiar with Ring 10, but what they do, I'll give you an example. I had a guy, former champ. He calls me one day out of the blue. And he's like, man, listen, you think you can help me? If I don't pay the rent by like tomorrow, they're going to throw me out. I'm going to get evicted. It's my last chance. I said, let me see what I can do. I called Matt Farrago at Ring 10, told him the situation, gave him the information. Literally, no exaggeration, less than 10 minutes later, the guy calls me, the fighter calls me, goes, hey, man, some guy named Matt just paid my rent. And I'm like, yeah, that's my buddy. He goes, no, man, he just paid the whole thing. I'm going, yeah, well, that's what he does. Now, mind you, we're not going to pay it every month, but, we're giving you a helping hand. He's giving you a helping hand, and, it's time for you to take the reins from here. So, Matt, what they do is incredible. I mean, and that's not the only time that I've called him on the spur of the moment. And he's literally, no exaggeration, within 5 minutes he's come through with the money.
That's incredible. Some of the other stuff I've seen you do, and you were just at an autograph signing not too long ago, I think last week.
Yeah, actually it was Thursday. We were in New Jersey at it was a golf outing actually, but the golf outing was to benefit a boxing gym in New Jersey. It was myself, Vito Anafermo, Jerry Cooney, and it was really amazing. Vito Anafermo, and Iran Barkley too. But Vito, who I had only met, but I never hung out with him or talked to him, and I knew him from the Hagra fights and being a tough guy. And man, what a funny guy! Like Vito Anafermo is a really funny guy to hang out with. I really had a lot of fun with that guy. And he's probably going to an event next week actually with Iran. in New York, and Vito's going to be there, and Breland and a bunch of guys. But yeah, we had a good time the other day, helping raise money for a boxing gym in New Jersey. Yep.
So it seems like on all your free time, you're just trying to raise money for anything involved in boxing, which is awesome. Not many people you see out there doing that.
Well, people give me a lot of credit. It's funny. Like people say, "Oh, that's really awesome," and I don't want to diminish it in a sense, but really, it's with my with the connections I have, it's easy. Like I can, it's easy, and I'm surprised, to be honest. I'm a little slightly disappointed, but definitely surprised that more people with more connections than I do have, that they don't do it also. There's a lot of people like me in boxing who know a lot of people, a lot of famous people, a lot of rich people, a lot of, known people, whatever. It's been easy. It's been very easy, and I have to say, guys are willing to help. Especially, I ran Barkley, Junior Jones, Mark Breland, Roy Jones. Anytime I asked them to sign anything, Lamont Brewster, Montel Griffin, anytime I've asked them to sign something, it's been no problem. They do it right away. So it's been very good.
Yeah, you would think more people, especially higher up, there's people that made millions upon millions of dollars in the fight game, and you don't really see them stepping up. They could easily auction off memorabilia like you are.
Well, you know what? Honestly, recently, they had the Jake Paul fight, right? And he made a lot of money. And he makes money anyway, but he made a lot of money. I started a little thing on Facebook and Twitter, and I was like, hey, Jake Paul, and I tagged him in it, not expecting anything, so he didn't disappoint me. But just to, with social media, you start something like that. Even if you don't succeed, you succeed with getting attention from it. So I was like, hey, Jake Paul, you want to be, accepted in the boxing game. If I was you, I know how you could do that instantly. You could give what would amount to pennies compared to what you have. You could give back to the game in a way that even the most hardened critics, myself included, would have to say, hey, okay, well, that's cool. Like, he could give, like, think about this. And he doesn't have to. I'm not saying him or Floyd have to, but I'm just saying. They have the kind of money that they made from boxing that they could change the lives of Gerald McClellan and Wilfred Benitez with the stroke of a pen in 10 seconds, and they wouldn't even notice it was gone. Think about how having that much money and power. It would be like me if you said to me, hey, man, if you give me 50 cents, I could change a guy's life almost forever, going forward at least for several years. All John Scully would have to do is give them 50 cents. Well, I'm going to do that. Like, of course, why wouldn't I? It would be a no-brainer. So I'm trying to light a fire and bring attention and say, hey, man, we need Jake Paul, or you want to be in the game? Be in the game. Like, it's not a lot more than just fighting and doing silly stuff on YouTube, Floyd, and I know, and I've heard Floyd helps people behind the scenes, and I'm not begging, but I'm just bringing attention. I'm just pointing out the fact that there are people in this game, in this world, who could help Gerald McClellan and Wilfred Benitez ridiculously, embarrassingly easily, and they wouldn't even miss the money that's gone. It would be a tip to them at a nice restaurant. That kind of money could change these families' lives. And I'm hoping one of them goes, you know what? I don't want to be pushed into it, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you're right. It is fractions. It's pennies on a dollar to them compared to the difference it will make in other people's lives, especially guys that really paved the way for these guys to be able to do what they do. You got guys who just became pro fighters in the Paul brothers or whatnot, making millions upon millions of dollars when you have local, like, guys that went through the amateur program that could have went to the Olympic trials, that could have won major tournaments. I think Joey DeWecco was on here before.
Say one thing.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Who was?
Joey DeWecco. He said he made he
Oh,
was an
right, yeah,
amateur
Joey's a good
standout.
guy, yeah.
He said he made $900 on his pro debut or something to that nature.
Right. Yeah. Joey's. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, these guys are not making the money that people think they are, you know. And like I say, they could change lives instantly, and it would be one thing if it was like a major blow to their account. But I'm talking about money that they wouldn't even miss. It would go unnoticed. Like, we could take it from them and they wouldn't even know it was gone.
Right, and now for people that don't know, for like your casual boxing fan listening, say a fighter makes $50,000, right? That's their purse. How much are they actually taking home after, everything's said and done between the tax man, trainer, and everything like that?
Right. Well, off the bat, traditionally, 10% of that goes. So if you make $100, you're down to 90 because $10 goes to the trainer. Anywhere from $20 to $33 goes to the manager. Now, if you're an upper level fighter, you've got to pay for sparring. You've got to pay for this and that. And then you've got to pay taxes. So generally in those big fights, you're talking about upwards of half. Like, half the money is gone right off the bat. And I'll give you an example to highlight what I'm talking about. Now, Jake Paul, I'm not sure with Jake, and I guess I didn't even realize it was two brothers until like 2 weeks ago. I thought it was the same guy. One of them, whichever one fought Mayweather, he made big money, right? Now, he made millions. Now, if you remember Scotty Pemberton, I trained Scotty for his fight with Jeff Lacey when he fought for the title. Scotty, only concern on the planet Earth was to make enough money to put a down payment on a house for his family, his wife and daughter. Scotty Pemberton went through an amateur career, tough pro career, lost a few fights early on. He fought Omar Shika, if you remember, in 2 fights of the year on ESPN. Brutal fights. I was at them, and they were like Gaddy and Ward level. Like, they were vicious fights. He made $10,000 for the second fight. That's the most he ever made in his career. When he fought Jeff Lacey, he made $100,000, the biggest purse of his career. Now, right away, some of that goes to me, some of that goes to his manager, some of that goes to whoever. Then he's got to pay his bills. He put the rest on a down payment on a house. So we're talking, what was it, 40,000, maybe 35 on a house. That was his goal. He accomplished that. Jake Paul could have bought him a house and not even missed the money, not even known the money was gone. So everybody in boxing, even though Scotty was a top 5 contender, they're not rich. You'd be surprised how many guys are literally just not rich off of boxing. As much as you see them on TV, they're not rich.
Donnie, is there any questions in the chat?
Hey, John, man, that's great stuff. What you're doing for everybody. But I want to know, how did you get into boxing? Was it a dream of yours as a kid? Tell us more about how you got into the sport.
I'll tell you, it's funny. I started going to a real gym because when I was a kid, I used to box with myself, like on the bed. I would box on my father's bed in front of a big mirror, and I would fight. Like, I would pretend I was fighting. I was Muhammad Ali, and I would pretend I was fighting Joe Frazier, Jimmy Young, or mostly it was Jimmy Young for some reason. And I would score the fight. I would score the rounds against myself. I would score the rounds. After the fight, I would go in the mirror in the bathroom, and I would do the post-fight interview and, everything. So my father, we liked the joke, and we used to say he got tired of watching me beat up Jimmy Young. So he looked for a gym, and he brought me to a local gym, a real gym. And the only reason I went is because I wanted somebody real to pretend I was Muhammad Ali with. Like, it would be like, like being in a movie, and I was going to have a guy to pretend I was Ali with. And after my first day in the gym, I was literally hooked. Like, the smell of it, the smell of the sweat and the heavy bags, and it was just incredible. And I've literally, for all intents and purposes, that was March of 1982. I've never left.
So you don't like to flaunt about yourself or brag, but you were natural. You went in there from what I read, and they said you'd be a champion in a year. And then what? 14 months later, I think you got your first championship.
Right. Well, my second day in the gym, and I remember I was 14 years old. I sparred with a kid named Mark Sear, who was 17. And I remember, it's funny, I was boxing and I was just imitating Muhammad Ali. That's all I knew how to do, was move and bounce on my toes and, slap him and run and make him miss. And so I did very well. And I remember specifically when it was over, the kid asked me, "Hey, man, how many fights you got?" Oh, no. He said, "How long you been boxing?" I said, "Man, like 20 minutes. Like I just started. Today's my first day." And he thought I had come from another gym. He thought I had already had fights. So that's when the coach, Mr. Burrill, he told my father, he said, if he stays with it, within a year, he'll be a champion of something. And that was March of '82. My first championship that I won was May of '83. So a little over a year later.
So we had a viewer ask, so you won a lot in boxing, you became big in boxing, but then you told us what you've done outside the ring to help people. They asked this, what gave you more joy, John? The success in the ring or the things you've done outside the ring helping those in need?
It's equal. It's just in a different way. Like I'll say this. It's funny. And like I have a daughter, right? And when she was born, everybody knows when your child is born, that's an unbelievable day. If people say to me, "What was the happiest moment of your life?" Now you would expect me to say when my daughter was born, but the fact is, it was when I won the Eastern Olympic Trials in 1988. And I beat the world champion Darren Allen. The reason being, it was a dream of mine, almost a fantasy, to fight. Beat Darren Allen. That was the goal. He was like the superstar in my eyes of the division. So when I beat him, I didn't know till they said it. And when they said it, I jumped up and down because they could have just as easily said I lost and I would have been depressed. When my daughter was born, as happy as it was, I knew it was going to happen. So it wasn't like a shock, like, "Oh man, look at that. A kid just showed up," So it's obviously super happy, but it was in a different way. I hope people understand what I'm saying. So the happiest moments, because they're unexpected, or they're, it's finally a realization. Like, okay, I dreamed of this, now it's happening. Now, by the same token, when I first started boxing as a kid, I knew my wife, my future wife. I knew her. I kind of dated her in 6th grade, whatever that means. I used to talk to her on the phone when I was 15 years old. I used to tell her on the phone, and we weren't dating at that time, and we didn't date for years later, but I used to tell her, one day we're going to get married and we're going to have a child together. And I was 15. I didn't know what I was saying. And 21 years later, there we were with a child.
You're like Nostradamus, Ice.
100%.
What's the best moment you had, though, outside the ring, not with your family, helping when you helped another boxer, man, pay rent, get him out of a tough spot? You've done so much. Does anyone stand out and it really, brought pride?
Yes. I'll tell you what, and it was a spur of the moment thing, and I can't tell you who, but it was a very famous fighter, very famous world champion. He calls me out of the blue. Hadn't talked to him in a long time. He said, and this was before. I actually don't even know why he was calling me exactly, because this was before I really started doing this type of thing. And he called me and he said, "Man, my grandfather just died, and we're not going to be able to pay for the funeral. He's going to have to lay there in wherever they keep the body." I said, "Man, let me talk to some people." So I knew a little bit about Ring 10 at the time. I didn't know them well, but I got the number. I called Matt Borrego, that was my first time talking to him. I said, "Listen, you know who this fighter is. You're obviously familiar with him. I'm just going to hand it over to you, whatever you want to do. His family, his grandfather needs to be buried. So either the state's going to do it or they're going to do it." 5 minutes later, the champ calls me. Oh man, thank you. And the guy hooked me up. Ring 10 hooked me up. So that was my first time ever contributing in any way to helping. And when I thought about it, I said, man, like I didn't pay, but I mean, we just paid for someone's funeral. That's incredible. And that's when I started looking into Ring 10, trying to find out who they were. And like I say, Matt Farrago. I don't know if you're familiar with Matt. He was a middleweight back in the day. A New York middleweight. Had like 25 fights, whatever it was. But I talk to Matt frequently. He's so fanatical about helping fighters. Like he's ready. Sometimes I feel like he's ready to die in order to do it. And I believe he thinks that. Like he'd rather die than not help a guy. Like he's so into it. It's almost like an obsession. And anybody who knows Matt will laugh because they know what I'm talking about. His goal is to help fighters. So I'm not like an official member of Ring 10, but I support them and I send guys their way and I go to their events, their dinners. I guess I'm like an unofficial member, I guess you'd say. So seeing guys like that and you've seen Tim on my Facebook, people are unbelievable. Like if you're on Facebook long enough, you guys, I assume like you could lose faith in the world if you're on Facebook long enough listening to these people. There's some insane people with some insane ideas. But by the same token, when I put up these items, literally, I'll get people, and hey, Tim included, like people send me money sometimes just to help. They don't even want anything. They just want to help. And it's amazing. I go, well, here, I'll give you the address. You can just send it to them directly. And they're like, no, we trust you, man. We'll send it to you, and you send it to whoever you want. I'm like, all right. Like, I'll send it out, So I have to say, like, my faith in humanity through this has really, really been strengthened because I've had people send me money for no reason at all, like just because they wanted to help out. They didn't want. I've offered, hey, I'll send you this. They go, no, keep it, sell it to somebody else. One guy recently, I sold that Chad Dawson glove. He sent me, I believe it was 300. I believe he sent me 300. He said, send 100 each to your guys, and then keep the glove and sell it to somebody else and get more money. And I'm like, well, nah, man, I'll send you the glove. He's like, listen, I don't even want it. I'm not even a fan of Dawson. I just want to help out. So these are the kind of people we're dealing with.
And that's awesome. I know. Well, thank God that you finally got Venmo and stuff to send money electronic. I remember the first thing I won off of Ice was a autographed Michael Nunn card, and I'll get into that in a second. But he's like, oh, you just send me a check or a money order. And with everybody experienced, last month at Hungry for Hope, I don't know how to fill out a check. Never did it in my life. I forgot to sign a check when we were paying rent for the office. And funny story. But like going back to the Michael Nunn thing. Not that funny. Going back to the Michael Nunn thing. We mentioned now you're a world title challenger, right? In the beginning of the show, we probably mentioned it numerous times. One of the guys that you're helping out after, I don't even remember how many years he served in prison. He was sentenced to 20 for whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But that was who you fought for the world title, Michael Nunn. And then when he got out...
He was sentenced to 24 years. He did, I believe, 17 and a half. And we wrote to each other. We used to write to each other when he was in jail. And, we got noise going by. Hold on one second. So he was, we were writing to each other. We got to be friends. And then we were able to talk to each other on the phone and, frequently, like once a week. And, we just had, we had a lot in common. Like to this day, we talk like every week. Just a funny guy. And so I kind of took it upon myself because, when you're away for 17 years and you've spent that much money on lawyers, and you're not making money, I know he needs money. So you know what, Mike? I said, let me see what I can do. I have some cards. I had a friend of mine actually send me 100 Michael Nunn trading cards, 100 of them for free. He just said, look, get Michael to sign these and just do whatever you want with it. So I have Mike sign the cards when people want one. and 25 bucks, 30 bucks, whatever it is, and then I send him the money. So until he really gets on his feet and situated, um, nothing earth shattering, but I've been helping out a little bit.
Didn't he just win a Muay Thai fight pretty recently, or a kickboxing fight, or something to that nature?
He fought the guy. I guess the guy was famous at one point for kickboxing. I forget his name. He told me he's never going to do it again. He's laughing. He said, man, those kicks in the leg hurt. He goes, it felt like I got shot. And I wasn't trained on it. If you know Michael, he's almost like a comedian. The way he tells the story, it's like Eddie Murphy telling the story. And he's like, man, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting kicked in the leg like that again. And so he did the one and done. I guess he did pretty good. I guess he boxed pretty good considering he's been out for 18 years. But he doesn't have plans to do that again.
Should just tell him to hit up Damon Feldman. I think Riddick Bowe's looking for an opponent for the next celebrity boxing.
I had heard that. Yeah, I heard that about Riddick. Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's crazy. And I know we only got you for a few more minutes, so I wanted to get into the most important question we ask on the show. Right, the show's called Hungry for Hope. It's all about the comeback, the helping other people out, inspiring, motivating, all that good stuff. But the question I got to ask you is, what does hope mean to you?
What does what mean to me?
Hope.
What does hope? I mean, it's a different thing for people. But for me, thinking about it going forward, like these fighters in boxing, and I've heard many people have talked about how boxing, and I understand the problems with it and obtaining it, but boxers they're not like the major leagues, the NFL, the NBA. They don't have, pensions and those type of things. Fighters literally, they're left on their own. Like once their career is over, they're done. Especially, and I could understand. A lot of guys have turned pro and they didn't amount to a high level, so I understand. But you're talking about world champions like Meldrick Taylor, guys like that who ended up with nothing through their fault or they're not. But it just seems like something, especially with guys making 40, 50, 100 million for a fight, it would seem like something should be in place somehow, kind of like taxes. People make $100 million as a president of a corporation, they have to pay a little more, whatever the case may be. I would like to see something put in place. I don't know how they could structure it exactly, but I think something needs to be done because I've seen, and I know personally, so many world champions, guys you've seen on HBO, and they don't know how to handle money. They've never been taught how to handle money. And the fact is they don't have money. They end, I mean, you fight for $800,000, $1 million on TV. A huge chunk of that money is gone already before you even get it. And B, they can't keep it for different reasons. And that can't go on forever. Something's got to happen. And when you see so many millionaires, guys who were millionaires, Mike Tyson, for example, so many guys. I mean, Ali, people forget, even Ali at one time was in bad financial shape. It wasn't until his wife brokered a deal to sell his name and his likeness that he got, rich again. But in the early 80s, Muhammad Ali was not rich. He was, believe it or not. So something has to change in that regard. That's the hope of a lot of people.
Maybe like the WBC or WBA can donate some of that money for their 800 titles that they charge sanctioning fees for.
Right, of course. I mean, it's just, you think about like Jake Paul made, million, whatever he made. Floyd Mayweather made over 100 million like 4 times in his career. Something has to go. It has to help somehow. They've got to structure something because it's really, like I say, a lot of guys, that's all they know. They didn't go to college. They didn't, just didn't come up like that. So they don't know. They don't know how to say. I've had guys, I'll give you an example. I've predicted sadly, years ago, there were certain guys in my head I would pick out and I would go, man, that guy's got millions. I go, but I bet you in 15 years he's not a millionaire anymore. And I'm right quite a few times, quite a bit. I'm right. They end up just in sad state. And an education needs to be given to fighters. I've seen so many guys. They're just you give a 10-year-old kid $100 and put him in a toy store. Well, that money's gone in 15 minutes. I knew a fighter one time. He made a nice payday for him. It was a very good payday. I told him, I knew him, and I pulled him aside one day. Go, man, after that big fight you have coming up, you should put money away. You should put it in a CD. And he didn't even know what a CD was. Long story short, within about 6 weeks, all of his money was gone. I know for a fact. All his money, he spent the purse. He spent it all with nothing to show for it. He bought nonsense with it. And he just didn't know better. He was so excited to have it, and he just blew it quickly. So it's like he fought for nothing. Something's got to change with the mentality of fighters, because they act like it's going to be here forever. You see in college, when they give a kid out of college, a signing bonus of $1 million. Well, it's a little different because he's 22 years old, but he's also just come through college. Like, he's a college-educated athlete. He has some sense. He has an agent. He has people who work for him who are in charge of making sure he invests his money properly and saves it properly. Boxers have nothing like that. Like, it's more prevalent than I think people even realize. It's more blatant than people realize. They're giving kids money that have no experience with anything more than $500 to their name.
Right, and the other athletes have a union. When they get drafted into the NFL, NBA, NHL, they're all protected by a union. Boxing, there's no such thing. There's not even a pension.
Pro wrestling, no union.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, John, while we got you, we had a viewer. They want to see a live
Right.
video.
It's just, it's crazy.
Can you get us a live video of Fenway? We want to see Fenway.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
The
watch
game's
this.
delayed.
Check this out.
Show us.
You're going to wait to see where I'm at. I'm going to turn the phone around, all right? You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go, kid.
All right, here we go. I'm going to show you where I'm sitting. Okay, here we go. Now, hold on. Check. Hold on.
Don't do it on us. Oh, there we go.
Hold on, we're live. There's my boy. Look at this.
Let's see the green monster, baby. Let's see the green monster. Ho, ho, ho. Let's go Phillies, baby.
Is that who they're playing?
Nah, they're playing Colorado.
There it is.
Royals.
There's the green monster.
What's it raining down there, John? Rain delay?
There's the Prudential building right there. What's that?
What's it, a rain delay?
No, they're playing. They're playing, right? Yeah, they're playing. Yeah, they're playing. He's up. Here goes the pitch. That was a ball.
We're going to get sued by Major League Baseball.
There we go.
But, John, I'm not going to hold you. We went a little bit over. We said we were, so I'm going to let you go. But thank you so much for joining us. And anything you got going on in the future, just let us know. Anything we can do to help with Hungry for Help, just let us know.
Okay. Hey, wait, hold on. Check this out. Look.
Yeah, let him go, Tim. I'm starving.
We got pizza. We got everything. All right. So listen, I appreciate you guys having me on the show, and I guess I'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
See you, brother. Thank you, John. You the man.
All right, guys. All right.
Tim, how quick do you think I can get a flight to Boston right now?
Oh, you jump on a train. It's
I
not
hate
that
Boston
far.
people. I'll go out there and end up beating people up.
I had to work there for like 2 months before.
You hate them too, aren't they
They just
annoying?
kept saying wicked and talking
Yeah.
about Tom Brady.
You think I would like a bunch of Irish people, but I don't, man. I want to smash their heads in. The
I
Red
heard
Sox suck.
They do have
New
that.
England Patriots suck.
They do have that Cheers.
Boston Celtics suck.
I think they closed that.
Boston Bruins horrible.
They closed the Cheers bar down. Go.
Tim, what do they do?
I'm not.
Talk.
I'm not talking to you.
Speak into the microphone.
I'm getting a union. But now I said they closed that Cheers bar down. I heard that they had up there the original.
What's up, Andy? That was a great interview with the Iceman, man. It was awesome. A lot of people tuning in there. He was pretty cool, right, Tim? I know you guys go way back.
Yeah.
How'd you meet the Iceman?
I think it was maybe MySpace at that point. We started on Blog Talk Radio. We were doing a podcast. We asked him to be like a guest co-host one day, and then we were doing it 2 days a week. Turned into he co-hosted one of them one day a week for us for a while till things started picking up.
Tim, what was your MySpace song? I know you had like songs. Mine was Number One by Nelly.
I think it was Back That Ass Up by Juvenile.
Are you allowed to say ass on this? I think you are.
Jamie, can we say yes? Yeah, okay.
Your mom's listening. What does she think about that? Your sister's listening. Katie, what do you think about your brother saying ass? Back that ass up on the show. This is just, you're mad. You're nuts.
You just gave them 12 passwords, potential passwords, and they all involve 69 in it. Grow up.
You're out of control, Tim. But somebody that's not out of control is John the Iceman Scully. Now, he's a guy, he's big in boxing, man. He got a medal in the Olympic trials. But the coolest thing about him is what he's doing now. Tell us a lot more. I know he got into it. He was at the game, Tim. What's some of the stuff you've seen firsthand? I know you donated some stuff.
Well, yeah, no, it's cool because he has people donate, like he was talking about, or he donates some of his memorabilia. He's been to so many fights around the country and comes across these guys. Like, he's good friends with Roy Jones from their sparring days.
Tim, they said that interview was longer than Lamana's walkout and fight combined.
Why you gotta throw shade at Cornflake? Thanks for that $1,500, though.
Yeah, Tim bet heavy on that, man. He called that. He's like 1 to 3 rounds, knockout, bet it. Andy Hartley said he's returning back to the ring, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, he's, you know who he beat before?
I don't know. Talking to microphone and tell me, kid.
He's won. Andy's won like 2 fights, but who he beat was somebody who just made the news not too long ago.
What do you mean? You're saying he's not good? He only did he fight like 30 and won 2? Did he fight 2 and win 2?
Well, like 31 too, but that's besides the point.
I like somebody who keeps on coming.
He keeps coming. He fights anybody, anywhere.
Thanks for tuning in, Andy. Your first and last time.
But he beat up this dude that just won his second pro fight against this guy who just made the news for stalking Kim Kardashian, Charlie Zelenoff.
So he sounds like a good dude. Oh yeah, I know. I heard about that.
Not only did that guy stalk Kim Kardashian, he also got Deontay Wilder's phone number and called him racist names until Deontay Wilder met up with him and fought him in a gym.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a dude who would go and like fight people in gyms?
He sucker punched Floyd Mayweather Sr. when they were sparring, and then Lydell Rhodes jumped in the ring and beat him up.
So he fought this guy. Andy, you fought this guy? You tuning in? He fought him, Tim? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he fought him.
And he won?
He won. Not made the kid quit.
He's fighting, Andy Hartley is fighting Rondell McGee in September. We're going to have to check that out, Tim. Where are you fighting at, I wonder, Andy? Andy's going to tell us where he's fighting. But, you know, that Scully thing was awesome. But know what's been on my mind, Tim? Oops, baby.
Britney Spears.
Yeah, Britney Spears. I was talking to the Beast from the Northeast, Ray, about it. And we couldn't believe. We're talking like pay. Iceman was saying how these boxers get paid. They spend their money stupid. Well, Britney Spears has made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars since 2008. And her parents, her dad, has control over all of it. Did you see this story, Tim?
I didn't really see it that much.
My
fiance Monique explained a lot to me. She's been watching videos and listening to it.
Got a lot more she could explain to you.
But, I mean, it seems absolutely insane, like the details of it. Like, she's forced, from what I got, she's basically forced to perform.
Modern-day slavery, Tim.
Yeah, forced to perform in Vegas or drugged. Forced to have one of those things for birth control to whatever, the 3 letters.
They refused to let her get her IUD out.
That's it.
I think it's a IUD or something.
You're such a gentleman. You know all the forms of birth control.
One of them blows you up in Iraq, and the other stops you from having kids. But they're both the same thing. You're going to blow up one day. But anyway, yeah, they're giving her dad, what was it, like $16,000 a month or something, just to run her money, and then he gets like a little bit of everything. He gets a cut of everything.
That's some bullshit.
She's not allowed to have kids. That's like the sex slave, Tim. You ever been involved in the sex slave?
No,
well,
can't say that I have.
Well, you know what's going on to Britney's not.
I'm sure you could explain the business real quick.
Remember we had that guy on, what was it, Bull Shark Pete? He rated the top 5 hookers in Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah.
That was nuts. That guy was crazy, but let's get off that. He was nuts. Bull Shark Pete, thanks for tuning in. But, we'll go from ranking hookers to the Britney Spears thing. I stand with Britney. Do you stand with her?
I stand with Britney. Andy, do you stand with Britney?
We'll get knocked out by her.
He'll get back to us.
So, yeah. I just had to bring that up. I would love to know what our viewers think of Britney Spears.
Now I understand why she shaved her head, though. Like,
she had a mental breakdown. She went a little crazy. We can relate. She had hard times.
she's on a comeback.
This is a person who made crazy money. She was put in the spotlight at a young age. She had to put up with a lot. And then,
I'm guaranteeing she's making some solid money now too. At this, she
has a residency in Vegas. She's been making tons of money during this period. What's 2008 to 22, Tim? That's like 6.
That's a lot of years. That's like this many.
That's a lot of years. And
how many years is that, Jamie?
And her dad's taking all that money from 2008 to 2022. How many years is that? We're asking the producers. They're the ones who know everything. But I thought the math made Jamie pass out there. And we got to make a correction. Andy Hartley, his real name is Andrew Kid Thunder Hartley. Just want to put that out there, Tim.
When there's lightning, the thunder follows.
But
or the other way around, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Don't claim to be.
Just the Scully thing, talking about these fighters going through money. I was thinking about Britney Spears' dad going through money. What if they took that 16 grand or whatever it is they give him?
Give that to the
and
boxers.
They give it to John Scully to help these fighters. Do you think that's a possibility?
I don't think that's going to get done anytime soon. In a perfect world, yes. But in a perfect world, her piece of shit dad also wouldn't be getting paid $16,000 to be a dickhead.
In the United States of America,
I said what I said.
2021, how are we letting somebody blatantly steal, modern-day slavery?
Well, and the judges, too.
World.
The judges are like...
Everybody should be locked up. They should be shot in the head.
We
should kill Britney Spears' dad. I'm not telling anybody to go do it, but I'm saying if he dies, I don't think anybody will
If
care.
anything happens to him, I'm not complicit.
I'm not saying go after the judges. I didn't go that far, but I'm saying what they're doing to Britney Spears is wrong. Somebody needs to step up for Britney.
He's taking a piece of that $16,000 a month, and it's probably being dispersed to certain judges who make that conservatorship stick.
But let's get serious, Tim. Is Britney single? Tim's like, is the dad single? 16 grand a month.
I don't think she is, but I don't know if she's allowed to. I think that was one of the complaints that Monique was telling me, that she wasn't allowed to get married.
She's not allowed to get married.
No, because I think at that point, the husband would be the person who would take over the conservatorship, wouldn't it?
So this is like a big scam, man. I could talk about this all day, but I just want Hunger for Hope Nation to know I am single, Britney's single, whatever, and we stand with Britney.
Donnie will make that conservatorship stop.
Monique said we freed the wrong person today. Should have been Britney, not Bill.
Don't get me fucking started on that.
Bill Cosby, that's great. What do you think about Bill Cosby, Tim?
I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole of hell that's going to get us canceled from...
Tim has no idea. I already sent Cosby's people an email like 3 hours ago.
Let's hear your comeback story.
What's he doing next Wednesday, 7 p.m.? We already got Cosby on. I don't know. It's going to be a knockout show. People are going to literally knock out. You get it? That's the punchline.
We get it. No, we got it. I'm going to hell for it.
Do you think Bill Cosby should have been released from jail, Tim?
No.
Why not?
What makes him any different than, people that did lesser crimes, and this piece of shit gets out of jail in 2 years, supposed to do 10, was up for parole, wouldn't admit to what he did or what he was accused of doing, and gets freed anyway. They dropped the charges over some bullshit technicality. I hope the DA, the prosecutor's office, just keeps running it back. Rematch in court every time until they can't anymore. Just drag them through it. Fuck it.
So you think Bill Cosby should be back in jail?
Hey.
Do you think he should be on our show next Wednesday?
No.
No? Are you saying you won't? you won't?
If you are fine with me sitting here giving him the finger the entire show, I don't know if he can even see me. The diabetes probably got him blind.
He's a liar. He can see.
All that Jello pudding.
Britney, Brittany isn't single, and Hartley has his own shoe line. Tell us, Hartley. I'm just keeping track of these viewers, man. They're all over the place. But
the chat popping today.
I'm not asking really is Brittany single. I'm asking, can I beat her boyfriend up? Let's get down to it.
I'm surprised Kevin Federline hasn't been in celebrity boxing yet, or has he?
He's probably getting 16 grand a month too. Everybody is. I want to cut. No, I'm just kidding. I want to help Brittany. Free Brittany. Do the right thing.
Yeah, free hair.
Tim, you forgot to tell everyone that Andy Hartley, or what do we call him, Kid Thunder? Yeah. He fought Antonio Canis, also in the movie Chicago Mirage.
I never saw that movie.
Well, they want to do a Hungry for Hope. Robert Combs wants us to do a Hungry for Hope boxing. Maybe for charity or something. It's going to be Bill Cosby versus Andy Hartley, Thunder Kid. Or Kid Thunder.
Kid Thunder Kid.
Can we do that at Toxic Studio, you think? Have Bill Cosby and
Andrew Kid Thunder
first
Hartley.
Time, long time.
Andrew Kid Thunder Hartley.
Kid Thunder
versus
shoes.
Bill Old Lightning Cosby.
He's gonna knock you out like he did to the other 30 victims.
Just watch your water.
Kid Thunder shoes. Free Britney, fuck Bill.
Loser goes to prison.
Bill, in America, when you have money, man, they can't keep you locked up for too long. Come on, honestly. There's not that many millionaires in jail.
I don't know how many times I've said...
He got out like half a dozen times.
I don't know how many times I've said there's some judge is getting a bag full of cash today. It seems very repetitive.
Yeah, like...
Honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, I thought he was going to get out when the whole COVID thing started. They were just going to commute it to house arrest and that be done. So I'm surprised he had to do this long.
So,
but
we have Bill Cosby. Look at that scumbag. We have a guy like him who not even allegedly, he was, well, now it's up in the air, but he admitted to some of it. He sexually assaulted, one of the worst crimes you can do. You can't.
Be careful how you word things, because he does have lawyers.
I don't care, man. I don't really care at this point.
Yeah, fuck him. You can't fight.
You can't be reformed from that, Tim. I believe in prison reform. I believe in people getting their life back together, but I don't believe in people who commit sexual assault getting anything but the death penalty. I don't think you should be released from prison. I think you should be put in an electric chair or shot. What do you think, Tim?
I mean, yeah, there's no point at that. It's just we're paying taxpayers' money, so why not just take them behind a dumpster and clip them? Fuck it, right, Jamie? We're in a mood today. We're getting a little saucy.
Rob, thanks for tuning in, man. We'll see you. Gene said he's planning on somebody's planning on dropping Quaaludes in my drink. I don't know if Bill is or Gene, but I guess you got to tune in to Wire to Wire Sports at 8:30 right after the show to find out. They're on Toxic Radio, great sports show. I don't think they're Bill Cosby fans either, but they stand with Brittany, so I'll be tuning in. How about you, Tim?
I'm standing with Brittany. I'm standing with Wire to Wire.
He said Cosby. All right, so Gene's not dropping Quaaludes in my drink. Bill Cosby is. He better drop a lot.
Yeah, and tune in next week for the Andrew Hartley, Rondell McGee press conference on Hungry for Numbers.
We got a great guest next week. We're gonna be announcing. Here's Andy. Keep on going. He fought Rodney the Pitbull Jones in Ocean Fagan. Am I saying that right?
Ocean Fagan.
Yeah. Hungry for Hope Nation. We had a great interview with John Scully. If you missed it, you can go back to the beginning of the show. It will be on iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We joke a lot, but everything John the IceMan Scully's doing is amazing. This isn't a guy who's a millionaire, but he's getting money together to help people who, like he said, you see these people on TV, and they're all over the country, the nation, and you think they're rich, these boxers, but a lot of them, for whatever reason, they went through their money. They never had their money. They had bad management. Look at Mike Tyson, So a lot of these people need help, and John Scully's a guy who is finding the resources to help them, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, not every fighter can license their name off like Ali did, like Tyson did with many things. And Tyson, he went from rags to riches to rags to riches again outside his boxing, but he was able to market himself.
I've been trying to get Tyson on the show for like 9 months now. I don't think it's happening. But we did get John IceMan Scully on, and we got a great guest next week, Hungry for Hope Nation. We're going to get out of here so Wire to Wire Sports can do their thing at 8:30. Tim?
Free Britney. We're out.
Free Britney.